over.
So history is being made here in San Diego, the first World Series ever. The plate umpire, Doug Harvey, Larry Barnett at first, Bruce Fleming at second, Rich Garcia of the American League at third, Paul Runge of the National League on the left field line, Mike Riley of the American League on the right field line. So pull up a chair and welcome to game one, and here we go. Off speed, gets the corner, and we're underway. Whitaker doesn't run very much, although he has good speed. He only stole 6 bases, but they shorten up at third. Nettles is looking on a bunt, fouled away.
You're going to see a lot of running, I think, on both sides, Vin, for the simple reason that Detroit's going to send a message to Terry Kennedy, the catcher, to see if he can stop him. And, of course, Wiggins on the other side is going to say, well, I heard all about Lance Parrish. See if he can stop me.
Oh, we'll see if they can get away with Lou Whitaker with the count 0-2. Little slider away, ball 1. 1-2. Thurman graduated from Texas A&M. He has a degree in finance, which comes in handy as a high-priced ball player these days. 1-2. Hit down the left field line foul. He came in with a fastball, so he challenged him a little bit.
He'll challenge him, and his change of pace, he showed him right away. He got it over, and that'll make him feel good, and it'll also set up his other pitches. It'll give Kennedy something behind the plate. You can work with 2 pitches. It's a definite plus.
Well, Sparky feels he has 2 excellent hitters at the top of the heap in Whitaker and Trammell. And that's foul behind the plate and out of play. Just to set Jack Murphy Stadium in your minds, named after a wonderful man, a columnist here in San Diego out of Oklahoma, a pipe smoker who had so much to do with bringing the Chargers here with the birth of the Padres and the building of this stadium. 327 down the line. Missed with the fastball.
And I sure hope that the move to take his name off the stadium flops. I would hate to see that.
Imagine a man who wrote a book about his dog, a Labrador named Abe of Spoon River. You get an idea of what kind of a human being Jack Murphy was.
Good guy.
Fouled away. So Whitaker is up there hacking away. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Lou Whitaker. Fouled away. Breaking ball just missed. So he's been throwing breaking balls away and then trying to come inside with a fastball, and he's gone all the way.
Textbook example of a leadoff man. Worked the count to 3-2 and fouled off some pitches. He's made Thurman work, and that's what he's supposed to do.
High drive into left center field. Bobby Brown going back. It's over his head. He's on the track, and it's going to bounce against the wall. Whitaker into second base standing with a long double. Boy, they go after you right away.
They come out swinging. You saw the stat on a home run. Bobby Brown replacing McReynolds, not quite the outfielder, but I doubt if McReynolds would have been able to make that play. Over his head, 2-base hit, and these Tigers are, well, they're doing what they did to get here.
Well, Whitaker's doubled, and now he has Trammell. You see, Allen has closed his stance, that left leg much closer to the plate than it used to be. It has given him more power. You watch him when he gets back in there. What does that tell you if you're the catcher? And he's bunting up along third, foul.
Well, you have to wait for his stride, because what he's doing, he's closed his stance because he was opening up his shoulders much too soon, and he wants to make sure he waits on the ball and kind of hits behind it. Now, if you get inside, he can still open it up. You can see him shorten up to beat out the base hit. If he were to stand there and just stride like that, you'd say to yourself, well, this guy's looking for the pitch inside so he can open up quickly and pull it.
He led the league in sacrifices last year, so he's a good bunter. 2-1.
Terry Kennedy is a very active catcher. He'll tell you location a lot by watching his body and watch his glove. As you saw there, he motioned down. Thurman has to stay down. He can't pitch up or he'll get killed.
Well, Thurman, who made so many pitches, went 3-2, and then Whitaker doubled, is behind 2-1 to Trammell. Well, he got away with a pitch that was up. And actually, you're pitching right into his kitchen, because he is a high ball hitter and a high fastball hitter, and Thurman got away with that one. 2-2. Just the start of things. And he bounced that 3 feet in front of the plate. Kennedy blocking it and Whitaker holding it second.
I'll never get it into the scoring rules, but that to me should be like an RBI because the catcher did save a base. Now, Whitaker had some ideas about maybe going on over to third, and he sees, I waited too long. That was what the late and great Casey Stengel used to call the 55-foot curveball.
Well, he went 3-2 to Whitaker, and he comes right back 3-2 to Trammell. That's not a good sign for a fellow who has to beat you with control. 3-2.
First inning's got to be a tough inning for all pitchers in the first game of the World Series. I would think that by the second inning you'd be able to settle down if you're still around. He's made a lot of pitches. He's going to need some help.
Dick Williams, of course, a very knowledgeable manager who's been through the mill, has won pennants. He actually managed in all divisions, and now, like Sparky, trying to win in the other league. Shot foul outside of third and down the line.
He's made 17 pitches already. And you can see the toll that that's going to take. But I just wonder, and I'm sure that Dick Williams and Norm Sherry take it into consideration. He's pumped up. The adrenaline is flowing. I mean, it's not just another game. And I'm sure that he's a little bit stronger right now than normal. And they'll take that into consideration.
It might be his problem, too. He might be overthrowing because of the adrenaline. Let's see. 3-2. Lined into left field. That's a base hit. Whitaker is to third, and Graham is sending him in to throw to the plate. He's in, and it is 1-0 Detroit. Holding at first is Trammell, and the Tigers have done it again. They scored in the first inning.
They will run on this outfield. Gwynn charges the ball hard, but he's the most aggressive outfielder. As we look at the replay, line drive, left field. Graham doesn't hesitate. Whitaker, better than average speed. Martinez's throw cut off, no chance in the world.
So the pattern continues. You know, Detroit never trailed in any of their 3 games with Kansas City, while San Diego trailed at one time or another in all 5 of their games against the Cubs. And they're down 1-0, nobody out, and Kirk Gibson at the plate. Right. And there goes the runner, the throw to Garvey. Garvey down to Templeton to get him. And that's a big play, because Anderson felt, I'm sure, that Garvey does not have the good arm to throw to second base.
It's not only does he have the good arm, he very rarely throws there, but you can see that the Tigers are off and running immediately. Trammell broke much too soon. Garvey's throw in good shape. Templeton is there, makes the easy tag. It's a big play for many reasons. It sends a message, but also with Gibson up there, he loses the hole between first and second.
He's going to drag a bunt, and he left it in Kennedy's mitt. 0-2.
And keep in mind that the Tigers feel that they have to stop Wiggins and Gwynn, and the best way to stop them is to let them play catch-up baseball. And when you lose base runners, it's tough to add numbers to that scoreboard.
So we'll see now if this pitch is up around the eyes or whether he's going to go breaking ball away. 0-2. Breaking ball away, hit into left center, but Martinez is there. Well, here's a guy with more power than any Tigers had since Willie Horton back in '68. Lance Parrish. Fastball in there.
You can see the indecision that Kennedy wanted that ball inside. Thurman just kept looking at him and shook him off. That's one way that the pitcher will do. He'll shake you off. And Kennedy, as he gives the sign, well, last thing is location.
1-1. You have to remember with this Detroit ball club, it had the best record on the road in the major leagues. It's not overwhelmed by being in San Diego by any means. Change, fouled away. Good pitch. 1-2. So he went up around the eyes, but Parrish wouldn't bite. 2-2.
That's Morris, Jack Morris. Don't think that he's got all those pitches when you saw Thurman shaking him off. If he had that many pitches, you'd have to take your shoes off to give the signs. He was just shaking him around. 2-2.
Little chopper back of third. On the line is Nettles. A long throw. Garvey off the bag. And Parrish aboard. Nettles from 25 feet back of the bag. Too much of a throw. And Parrish aboard.
Nettles gets over there in good shape. Tries to set himself, but that's a long throw. Parrish got down the line in pretty good shape. It's a base hit.
So with 2 down and Lance Parrish at first, Parrish no running speed.
Don't be surprised, though. He may want to send Kennedy a message. If I were Kennedy, I'd be looking for him.
Well, Parrish has stolen 2 and been caught 3. Slow dribbler to Nettles, no play. So it's a single for Larry Herndon, and down to second goes Parrish, and now Thurman is a little unlucky. Back-to-back singles. That's the 4th hit of the inning. You had Whitaker double, Trammell single, and now 2 infield jobs.
They're using the foot gun attack, all right. The grub worms in front of home plate will not sleep. They've been beaten down on it. 2 base hits, none of them having left the infield. And here's Garbe.
Barbaro Garbe, the DH. His numbers during the year. Interesting to point out about the DH. Every other year, the World Series follows the American rule, but the outcome hasn't followed the American League. In every World Series, when the DH was used, the team with the highest DH average has won every time. Oddly enough, the National League had the highest DH average and won 3 of 4. 1-1. Boy, he's making a lot of pitches.
He's making a lot of pitches, but I'm sure Dick Williams and the Padres feel they got the perfect man out there, the bulldog, the junkyard dog, to hang in there because of what's happened. Whitaker hit the ball hard, Trammell hit the ball hard, but these 2 base hits can upset you. He's made 30 pitches.
2-1. In there. Slider in on the hands, much to the delight of this crowd, somewhere around 59,000. Breaking ball hit foul down the right field line, out of play.
And already, here in his first inning, Dick Williams is, I'm sure, thinking that the least little bit of trouble in the 4th, 5th inning, I'm going to bring in my middle relief, which is so strong. He's had great middle relief from Hawkins and Dravecki and Leffert. So with all these pitches, because the magic number from Norm Sherry was 80 in the 6th.
2-2 the count. Ground ball to Nettles, and he's going to go to the bag and beat Parrish, and the inning is over. So Detroit gets the minimum out of the maximum. They get 1 run, 4 hits, and leave 2. And at the end of half an inning, the Tigers won, the Padres nothing.
It's baseball.
Alan Wiggins is getting a standing ovation from a great part of the crowd.
And the third baseman has come in very close. Castillo, as close as I've ever seen a third baseman. They're going to challenge Wiggins to bunt. Look at that. He's right on top of him.
And Mars, who is quick, starts him, and it's fouled at the plate. 0-1. Alan Wiggins, switch hitter, much better hitter from the right side with a little power, but of course extra steps to the bag.
Left side, he just kind of pokes the ball the opposite field.
0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike to Wiggs. Maybe the noble experiment paid off and was one reason why the Padres were so successful. They took a big gamble. They took Wiggins, an outfielder by trade, converted him to a second baseman. And even though he made a lot of errors, 32, he got the job done. And Jack Morris trying to get him 1-1. 1-2.
Castillo right in on top of him, and I tell you, he's almost saying to him, you can't hit it by me. He moved back just a couple steps. They're shaded way over to left field as if he were a right-handed hitter.
If he hits a ball to straightaway center or right center, that's a sizable gap. Fouled away. Little pop fly back of first, slicing foul down the line. Evans in pursuit, back in the seats, out of play. Well, Sparky eyeballing Wiggins. 1-2 the count. 2-2. Morris is very quick. I don't mean his pitching, but the way he bounces off the mound. In fact, one of the quickest pitchers Sparky ever had was a talented left-hander named Don Gullett, and he says Morris is as quick as Gullett. Ball 3.
That's the thing that Wiggins can do. He's not afraid to hit with 2 strikes, and like Whitaker, he worked to count to 3-2, and that's the good leadoff man.
3-2 to Alan Wiggins. Got him. Well, the fastball blew him away, and that'll do it for Wiggins, and it will bring up the National League's leading hitter, Tony Gwynn. One out, bottom of the first inning, 1-0 Detroit. And here is Tony Gwynn, who faced Morris in the All-Star game and struck out. And bangs it to right center. Gibson going back on the ball. He's there. Now another ovation for the Padres' most valuable player in the LCS, Steve Garvey. So the two most valuable players in the League Championship Series are both Spartans from Michigan State, Steve Garvey and Kirk Gibson. Garvey's had a notable fall off in power, but he had his biggest home run of the year against Lee Smith Saturday night. Change. Big balloon, ball one.
That just squibbed out like he was picking up that bar of soap in the shower.
1-0 the count to Garvey. 2 down in the first inning. Tigers 1, Padres nothing. Fastball line to right. That's a base hit.
There was a classic case of hitting a pitch that was really a mistake. Lance Parrish fastball moved inside. Morris had good stuff on it, got it out, and Garvey extends those arms and hits behind it the opposite field, much like the home run he hit off Lee Smith.
Well, Garvey being saluted vocally and with the signs. And now here is Greg Nettles, 40 years old, from San Diego. And a big guy at Sock, acquired from the Yankees for pitcher Dennis Rasmussen. For years, Nettles was a low ball hitter, but as the years have gone by now, he likes that ball up more until he talks about himself as being a high ball hitter.
He is a high ball hitter now.
1 ball, no strike. It was interesting, when he was with the Yankees, he bought a TV dish for the backyard so his wife could live in San Diego and watch him. After he bought it, he was traded to the Padres. 1-0. In there.
He had a great line when they clinched it. He said, in New York, they tell you to win the pennant. In San Diego, they ask you.
2 down in the first, 1-0 Detroit. Garvey with a base hit, held on at first, and Evans now goes behind him with the left-hand hitting Nettles up there. 1-1. That's that split-fingered fastball away, and the bottom dropped out of it too low. 2-1.
Most of the times it will be a ball if you can take it, but it takes the kind of discipline that's very hard to come by, because the ball looks like a strike coming there.
2-1 to Nettles. Garvey doesn't figure to do any running. One reason why Evans is off the bag, as well as the left-hand hitter. Lined into left center. That's a base hit. Herndon to pick it up. Garvey held at second. Ossie Virgil was holding him all the way. That'll bring up Terry Kennedy. Kennedy tried to go the other way a couple of times against Chicago. It didn't work. He got into where he was feeling for the ball. The Padres are hoping he'll come back with that powerhouse swing of his. Strike. Terry was influenced a great deal by an old buddy of yours down here, Clyde McCullough.
Well, I think that Clyde helped him with his confidence and kept telling him how good he was and what a great prospect that he is.
Line drive down the right field line and going into the bullpen. Garvey will score. Here comes Nettles to the plate, and he scores. Going to third is Kennedy. 2-1 San Diego. And the batter is Bobby Brown. 0-1. So a delighted Greg Nettles carried home the tie-breaking run here in the first inning. At 40 years old, he had to make the grand trip.
That's about what he's saying. Get the oxygen. His wheels were about to come off.
1 ball, no strikes. Ball 2. By the way, they are ruling that a triple for Kennedy. So Nettles huffing and puffing, but he's got his club in front. 2 balls, no strikes. Change hit slowly down to Evans. He will feed Morris, coming over just in time. So San Diego, 2 runs, 3 hits, and all with 2 out. It is first got worded as a triple. Now they have said no, double, and Kennedy took third on the throw to the plate. Chet Lemon with the count 1 ball and no strikes. He came up empty during the LCS, but you might remember he scored the only one in the clincher in Game 3, and the wave has started in San Diego. 2-0. We'll see it here, and of course we'll see it at Tiger Stadium in Detroit.
I'll tell you, you come to the ballpark now, they expect you to work as a fan. You got to clap, shout, wave.
There's a shot to third. Oh, what a hot hand by Nettles to throw him out.
Nothing new for him. He's ready, anticipating, gets that glove down, almost got it on the bare hand. Once he gets it, though, easy play.
Well, here's Darrell Evans. Ball 1. Evans, basically a dead low ball hitter, loves to pull. Originally signed by Kansas City back in 1967. 1-0. High towering fly ball down the right field line. Gwynn across the line in the bullpen. Can't make it.
He almost had that ball.
He didn't quit on it. See if he hit his head on the fence. You see him rubbing the left side of his head.
Interesting, he was in the wrong bullpen. He would have gotten some help. When they won't let you get hurt, but they're not going to say a lot of room or anything else. They'll get lockjaw. Watch him go up and see what happens here. He does bump his head as he tries to make the catch. But you're in enemy territory and you're on your own. Open season.
1-1 to Evans. Ball 2, 2-1. Little dribbler foul and the count 2-2. Fouled away.
Great thing about Thurman, Harry Dunlop, the coach who I've known it seems like 100 years, says you can ask him about any hitter in the National League, he'll tell you how to pitch him. He knows the hitters and he knows himself.
And knowledge is a great thing. 2-2. Fisted foul.
And he can really spot the pitches. Watch Terry Kennedy's glove, and he's hit the spot 3 different times against Evans, and that was his 42nd pitch. You might just keep track of it because he's going to need some help, it looks like.
2-2 to Darrell Evans. Line drive down the line, foul, out of play. Evans broke in with the Tigers this year on a great note. He homered for Detroit on the road opener, and for good measure, he homered for Detroit's home opener. He hit the first home run of Bob Gibson, who holds a World Series mark. 2-2. Way outside.
Great sports family. His mother and aunt, professional softball players. His grandfather was a minor league baseball player. And if he gets in a slump, he can go home and get help.
And you know, he's a great guy. He was the first Braves captain after Aaron. He was the first Giants captain after Mays. That tells you a lot about him. Fouled away. Of course, he got a lot of publicity. Remember, he lives in Pleasanton, California. As we look at Mark Thurman, Darrell Evans and his wife claim that they saw a UFO in the backyard.
They don't claim it, they guarantee it. They saw it.
Yeah, okay.
And it wasn't saying go home, E.T.
3-2. Hit to the right of Wiggins, smothers it, gets up and got him.
You could see the look in his eyes, the appreciative look at the fans' reaction. I think the ball players don't hear you if there's 2,000 in the stands. You know they hear you when there are this many.
Here's Marty Castillo, a catcher, third baseman. Ball 1. Remember, in the third game against the Royals, he beat out what looked like a double play ball, allowing the only run in the game to score. That's in there. 1-1.
If you're wondering what that wiggle is that Kennedy is giving, most catchers will use that sign for the specialty pitch, be it the change of pace, the screwball, or the off-brand pitch.
1-1. Ball 2. 2-1 to count. We have 2 out, top of the second inning. Padres 2, Tigers 1.
There it is.
Two and two on the corner. Fisted foul off to the right, back into the crowd, out of play. Little pop foul behind the plate. Kennedy coming to the screen, no play.
Watching Kennedy and Thurman work, and Kennedy giving his signs, you saw him put down the one and then go to the pinky as if he wanted outside, shook him off, pointed inside, and said yes. It points out that the catcher can merely suggest. The pitcher has the final decision. He has the ball. You can suggest the pitch in a location, but he has to okay it. Inside fastball. 2-2.
High pop fly into shallow center. Out goes Templeton and Wiggins. It is the center fielder, Bobby Brown, who hollered Templeton off the ball.
All-time games are presented.
0-1.
You mentioned Clyde McCullough earlier. Martinez was Rookie of the Year for the Padres, and he received the Clyde McCullough Award. Jack McKeon, general manager, he's the one who came up with the idea.
0-1. Ground ball to the hole, deep in the hole. Let's see Trammell's arm. And he made the play. Allen, of course, ever since he tripped playing Frankenstein in Halloween, hurt his arm. And it's interesting to see him make this play.
Yesterday he said, "Oh, that's just talk." He said, I had been letting up a little bit, but when I have to make the throw, I can. And he certainly proved it there.
Well, here's Templeton, a switch hitter, going left-handed. Ball one, 1-0. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Got him. So Jack Morris, who opened up striking out Wiggins, picks up his second at the expense of Templeton. Bobacqua did some DHing when he was in the American League. Pretty tough to be an important role as a DH when you've had only 80 at-bats all year. That's all the work Kurt has had. 2-1. San Diego, bottom of the second inning.
Oh, unhittable. That was the split finger fastball. You could just see it drop right straight down.
And the chicken is here, along with about 59,000 others. Ted Giannoulis. 1-1 to count to Kurt. Hard slider. 2-1. Hit down the right field line, slicing foul and out of play. 2-2 to Kurt Bobacqua with 2 out. Second inning, 2-1 San Diego. And that's hit in the air to left. Going back on the ball is Herndon near the track to one-handed.
They're trying to take that bunt away from Wiggins. They're going to have to hit it right down his throat at third base. He is way in on him.
Wiggins struck out in the first inning. One and one. One thing about Wiggins during the year, we've noticed it, when he bunts left-handed, it almost looks as if he's sacrificing. He tips off his bunt very early most times. 1-1. Foul back. He stole 120 bases one year. A bouncer up the middle. Behind the bag is Trammell to knock it down. Base hit.
And now you're going to see an interesting thing. This is the guy they have to stop. Does Sparky Anderson think that Morris has good enough control, and Roger Craig calls the pitch outs? Ball comes right back. Morris can't get it. Tries. Roger Craig calls the pitch outs, and I'd be willing to bet right now he'd call one. Look at
Trammell, even though he knocks that down, could not have made the play. 2-1 Padres, bottom of the third. Just the start of things. Not going. They pitch out. You were right.
Now I can get excited about this. I would ask the manager before the game, give me the right to call a pitch out again, a double pitch out. I won't bet the house, but he's going to go.
All right. 1 ball and no strikes. And by the way, Morris has not walked a batter, so he's had good control if you want to take another pitch away from him on a pitch out. pretty close. He was quick in going over there. Morris, in fact, thought he had him, and first base umpire Larry Barnett said no.
Boy, I tell you, it's really a great luxury when the manager says, go ahead, take it if you feel that strongly. But the pitcher can't get upset if he doesn't go, although this is a good move, very close. Great throw low where he just had to drop the glove.
Wiggins not giving him anything to tag as he went back with the hand.
Look at Lance Parrish looking over at the bench. He wants it. He wants that pitch out.
1 ball and no strikes.
Got it.
There it is, the second pitch out in a row, and Wiggins wasn't going.
You don't see that too often. You've got some cat and mouse game going here now. Now they got Parrish in a box. Will he go for 3? This is one of the few games that a pitch out has become exciting.
Well, we'll see now at the league's leading hitter against a 19-game winner, Jack Morris. Wiggins at first, nobody out. 2 balls and no strikes to Tony Gwynn. Castillo on the edge. Anderson has already let his catcher call 2 pitch outs to no avail. 2-0. Boy, George is working that tobacco. Ball 3, and Morris is so busy looking at Wiggins, he is losing the battle, plus the pitch outs to Tony Gwynn.
Well, that's where the pitcher's got to pick you up. He can't let those pitch outs that didn't work affect him. He's got to come back and pick you up. The good ball clubs all have an eraser. You got to have somebody to erase that mistake.
3-0. Ball 4. So they're going wild because they have Garvey, Nettles, and Kennedy coming up. Gwynn at first, Wiggins at second, nobody out.
The hard stuff they're going to try to keep inside. They didn't do it last time. Got it outside, and he hit it to the opposite field.
Fouled away on a full swing, as you saw, so they didn't have him bunting that time. 0-1. And the runners go on a bouncer to the right side. They get a tag for 1, and they get the double play.
They got the double play, and they started the runners to try to stay away from the double play. And even with starting the runners, they were able to get it. And, of course, that's the inning record. Whitaker does a good job. Gwynn goes out of the baseline. He didn't have to make the tag, and you can almost see Whitaker saying, hey, nice call. Now I'll throw the first and get 2.
I'll tell you, and it's not a hindsight because we talked about it, but he has hit into so many DPs. You wondered about that. They had him rip away because he's been so hot, and he bangs into the double play despite the runners going. And so Greg Nettles, who's single to left, coming up. You wouldn't expect any shenanigans with a left-hand hitter up there because the door is wide open. We'll watch Wiggins nevertheless. And Wiggins bluffs down the line. 1-1. Wiggins stole home against the Dodgers twice this year on Game of the Week. Ball 2. Castillo is deep, as you see. He's not trying to bird dog. 3-1. You know, an interesting thing about Jack Morris, with a runner at third, he has to worry about a wild pitch, and that has really hurt him this year. Morris made 14 wild pitches, most in the American League, so Jack has something extra to concern him. 3-1. That's a strike. He led the American League in wild pitches last year.
Here's a pitch where he should just concentrate on throwing a strike, whatever the catcher calls for, because Wiggins is not coming. If he comes, throw a strike, inning's over.
3-2, 2 out. And thanks to Wiggins, Nettles walks. So Wiggins at third, Nettles at first. They're not holding him. 2 out. 2-1 Padres, bottom of the third. Off speed, ball 1. You can see Evans trying to guard the territory, and Wiggins taking a stroll in the park. 1-0. tell you one thing, Wiggins is making life miserable for Jack Morris. He is coming about almost a third of the way, and since Morris is pitching out of a stretch, he's looking at him just before releasing the ball, and he's behind 2-0. That's a strike. Fastball picked up the outside corner. 2-1.
With that high shot, you can really see the lead that Wiggins is getting and the concentration of how Morris has to watch him.
Foul tipped. 2-2. I'll tell you one thing, if you're Wiggins, that's some roadblock down there at home plate.
Oh, you got to think twice, man.
If you're Wiggins' weight and you look down and see Lance Parrish, that's a whole new ball game.
Sam Nairn used to say tougher than 9 miles of detour.
Wiggins weighs about 160. 2-2. And that sliced to left center, but Lemon got a jump. He's there to handle it. Knight has fallen, and it's much easier for the outfielders to pick up the ball. So Jack Morris bobs and weaves out of the third, and at the end of 3, the Padres 2 to the 5th inning, with the Padres leading the Tigers 2-1 as you look through a veil of light. Now look at that face, huh? He looks like the youngster who was at the plate on the pregame show about 1903. Wonderful.
That was a great face, wasn't it?
Oh, wow. Right off a 4-H poster. Here's another one. Alan Trammell. Twice single to left. He'll be followed by Kirk Gibson and then Lance Parrish. He's from nearby Garden Grove, so as far as Allen is concerned, he's just about home. 0-1. Line to right field. Coming in and over is Gwynn. Fades to haul it in. Here's Gibson. Fly to left, struck out. 4-1. 2-1 San Diego. 1 out in the 5th. 2-0. Down in the Detroit bullpen, Dave Rozema is throwing. So it was Thurmond who's been in a lot of trouble. But the first bullpen action now is Rozema. 2-1 San Diego. 1 out, 5th inning. Little slider in there. What a pitch that one.
Oh, he's just made 2 great pitches. A fastball on the outside corner and then the breaking ball. But keep in mind, it's the first game of the World Series.
The adrenaline.
How can your arm hurt?
Yeah.
How can you get tired?
2-2. He wouldn't chase it. They figured that Gibson would go after that bad ball up, and he refused to do it that time. There's a lot of talent. The first Tiger ever to hit at least 20 home runs and steal 20 bases. For a big man, he's remarkably fast. 3-2. And he laid off that pitch that's up again. So Gibson walks, and with 1 out in the 5th inning, Lance Parrish will be the hitter, and that's the 3rd walk given up by Mark Thurmond. Well, there's 2 fellas not enjoying things right now, Norm Sherry and Dick Williams. Fisted foul out of play. You have to watch Gibson. He has 29 stolen bases this year. No balls and 1 strike as we look at Gibson leading away from first. 1-1. You know, I was asking Alex Grammas about signs. He said we don't even have an answer from a hitter when we have a squeeze play on. And I was really surprised about that. Did you always have the hitter answer back, yeah, I've got the squeeze sign?
Always.
He said they don't. 1-1 to count. The Lance Parrish, they've got Gibson picked off. Darby to Templeton, and they get him.
He broke a bit too soon, and Thurmond still had the ball. He knows he's in no man's land, but look at the determination. Garvey, actually, it's kind of a tough throw. He threw over his head. Usually he throws to one side. Big play, big play.
Remember, they picked off Trammell in the 1st inning. Now they pick off Gibson in the 5th. And Garvey twice doing what normally he has trouble doing in the past anyway. 1-2 the count to Lance Parrish, and it's still 2-1 San Diego in the 5th.
One thing you got to say, this Detroit club didn't come in here shooting a scared stick. I mean, you've got to be on your toes.
1-2 to Lance. Two and two. Just off the corner. 3-2. Shot inside third and down the line. Nettles never had a chance. The ball wedging underneath the bunting, and so into second base with the ball dead goes Parrish with a ground rule double. And of course, what would have happened if Gibson were aboard and he made second base?
Nettles had no chance. The ball was inside, and watch Parrish. He really gets around on that ball, opens up, and it's by Nettles before he knows what hit him.
So 2 runs, 4 hits for San Diego, 1 run, 6 hits for the Padres, and Larry Herndon coming up. So Parrish, bidding for a perfect night, had an infield single, walked, and now doubled. And there's Kirk Gibson thinking about what might have been. Here's Larry Herndon. He had an infield single, hit into a force play at third in the 3rd inning. Right. Mark Thurmond is doing a high wire act in a windstorm out there. You wonder if he can possibly even make it halfway across, never mind going all the way. He's been in constant trouble. Herndon against Kansas City had a home run against left-hander Bud Black. 1-1. And by the way, Rosema is still throwing down in the Detroit pen. Change, and he missed with that.
That was the one he wanted right there.
So Thurman with Parrish at second, 2 out, 5th inning. Padres leading 2-1. Lance does not have good running speed. Off the corner again.
The bullpen has indicated that they're ready. If he loses him, I'm sure he'll make the move.
How many pitches now? He's gone way out of sight.
111.
Williams knows he's not only on thin ice, one leg is broken through. Drive to right field. Gwynn going back to the track at the wall. Gone. And there's the home run by Larry Herndon to put the Tigers in front 3-2. And I guess Thurman, the old story, he pitched to one more batter too many.
3 balls and 1 strike to count, and that's the 2-0. The 2 balls and 1 strike, 3-1. Those are the cripple shooting counts, and that's the one that gets you in trouble. You can look for a pitch and get your whack, and that's what Herndon did. He drove it to the opposite field, and he drove it a long way.
Boy, he got those arms out there. He really snapped after it.
And he knew when he hit it, you could see those eyes looking straight up, and he watches it. And so does Gwynn, and so did the Padres.
Herndon had a poor beginning. He had 1 ball to the track in April and May. Did not hit a home run in either month. But then after the All-Star break, he did very well. And as he gets some high fives all around, he's put the Tigers in front. Line foul down the left field line. The bat came apart. So Barbaro Garbey will have to get another. Look at that. That came unlaminated.
Toothpick factory.
Whew. It's like a runaway propeller. Watch this thing go.
Didn't look like he hit it on the handle either.
1-1. Half swing cost him a strike. 1-2. So Herndon, who had 20 home runs last year and only 7 this year, has come up with a big one tonight. Fouled away. Oh, off speed, got him. Garbey way out in front of it, but the damage is done. A double and a home run by Herndon. That gives Detroit 2, and at the end of 4 1/2, 3-2 in favor of the
B Network.
Bavacqua, Wiggins, and Gwynn. Rosema is still throwing. I don't know whether Jack Morris told Roger Craig to keep an eye on him, and now Berenger is down there, so perhaps they're each just taking a turn getting in a little work. What a contrast to Thurman.
This is a big inning for Morris because there's an old saying in baseball: don't give up a run until you get one, which sounds very simple. Also, don't let them score after you've taken the lead. I mean, it's the unanswered and answered thing that we find in sports these days. You don't want your runs to be answered, and Morris has got to hold them here.
Well, the crowd is doing its part. Here's the 2-0 pitch to Bavacqua. Fouled away. By the way, a lot of folks have called in over the initials on the sleeves of the San Diego players. We'll show you it in a moment. The letters R.A.K. in memory of the former owner of the Padres, Ray Albert Kroc. Foul back. Mr. Kroc, there you can see it, the R.A.K. 80 years old at the time of his death. His wife Joan running the ball club. And they remember him very vividly here, especially the night that he got on the public address system and said it's the worst baseball I've ever seen. They've come a long way from that night, Joe.
I tell you, he was some fan and some man. I sat with him a couple times coming out here. Yes, it is a tragedy he's not here. You see it.
2-2. Fly ball to straightaway center. Lemon started back. Now comes up. 1-2 the count. Alan Wiggins. 1 out, 5th inning. 3-2 Detroit. 2-2.
But Castillo just doesn't think he's not going to give him any room. He doesn't think that he's up to do anything except bunt.
Well, we'll see Castillo playing up, and if we get into a bunt situation for Detroit, we'll see Wiggins playing up. 2-2. Foul back. Can you imagine stealing 120 bases in one season? That's what this kid did in the low minors. So you know he can fly.
Jack McKeon saw him when he went to scout a pitcher. Jack was out trying to get ball players from everywhere, and he saw Wiggins, and he said he's available for draft, and he drafted him.
From the neighborly Los Angeles Dodgers. 2-2. And there's a line drive flag by Lou Whitaker.
Sparky says it, but I'm going to tell you something. Down the middle, he's very strong with Parrish, Whitaker, Trammell, and Lemon. There's Whitaker making a great play.
Another Gold Glove performance by Whitaker. Of course, Whitaker and Trammell have been together since 1978. So there's a considerable amount of teamwork between those two. And here's Tony Gwynn, flied to right and walk. And he bangs it up the middle, base hit. And with 2 out, the tying run is aboard, and the batter is Steve Garvey. 1 ball and no strikes to Garvey. There he goes. The pitch is dropped at the plate by Parrish. It was high and inside, and Lance just dropped it. Stolen base for Gwynn.
You could see that Parrish was trying to handle that pitch and get in position. He just doesn't get it. Hits the heel of the glove and forget it. Gwynn, average jump, good speed though, and he's looking back to see if Garvey took a whack at it. It was not a straight steal.
So Garvey trying to pick him up and tie up the game. High slider, ball 3. And on deck, Greg Nettles.
And look at him take a look. He wants to hit 3-0. Will they give him the green light?
Line drive deep to left, but hooking foul. So they let him go after that 3-0 fastball. And I assume now if you let him go 3-0, he's on his own 3-1.
Oh, he's hitting now for sure.
And now Gwynn, the tying run at second with 2 out. Fouled away. 3-2. Fastball, he didn't get around on it, and Whitaker will throw him out. So Morris just overpowered Garvey, and Tony Gwynn is left at second as Garvey is jammed. And at the end of 5, Tigers 3 has taken over for Mark Thurman. So Thurman, 5 innings, allowed 3 runs, 7 hits, walked 3, and struck out 2. And what kind of a pitcher are we looking at, Joe?
He's got a good fastball, a hard slider. He's trying to work on his change of pace. Part of his problem, he's a nibbler, and he gets behind the hitters, and they say with his stuff he should never get behind.
In the dirt all the way to the backstop, ball 1. In fact, in his 2 appearances against the Cubs, as he works on Chet Lemon, the Padres were saying he got what he really needed, a boost in confidence. That's line to left, and Martinez coming over to play it on a hop. Lemon a big turn and holding as it comes into Templeton. So we'll keep an eye on Lemon now. And so will Hawkins. Lemon's a break-even base stealer. He's stolen 5 and he's been caught 5. But Garvey on the bag, so that gives Evans a hole on the right side. Right. 0-1. 1-1. Were you on that Pirate Ball Club that first wore helmets?
We were the first club.
Yeah,
we were the
right.
experimental club because they laughed at us.
They said you were soapbox derby.
Yeah, why would anybody throw the 209 at team average, you know?
Now I know guys who wear helmets playing the outfield, and for good reason.
They should.
Down and in, ball 2, 2-1.
Well, if you're going to run him, here it is. Pitcher's delight, 2 balls and 1 strike. And look at Evans. He wants to know, is he gone? You got to be alive.
3-2 Detroit, top of the 6th. And Hawkins keeping an eye on Lemon. Lemon afraid he's going to get hit in the head. And that's hit and backhanded by Garvey, and he goes to the bag. It was like trying to catch a change of pace. He almost reached out too soon.
Evans hit the ball off the handle, and Garvey thought it was hit much harder. You see him do a double take there. And, of course, Chet Lemon can't do anything, but he's in no man's land, and you can see the disgusted reaction of Darrell Evans.
So Garvey gets 2 on that line drive, and the batter is Marty Castillo. 0-1. Now Chet Lemon muttering to himself, how in the world can a man make a catch like that on a ball like that? High pop fly on the left side. Greg Nettles. That'll do it.
3 for 72. What you do is up to you.
Greg Nettles. He'll be followed by Terry Kennedy and Bobby Brown. Nettles so far single to left and walked. He scored a run on Terry Kennedy's double in the first inning. 3-2 Tigers, bottom of the 6th. Change, and it's hit off the end of the bat, and it's a base hit to center. So Morris makes a great pitch. Nettles is way out in front of it and gets a hit.
That's exactly what they wanted to do. He's even laughing himself, saying, I must have hit that with a wet Sporting News. It just kind of died out there. Didn't even bend the grass when it landed.
And it's lined into center, base hit. Nettles to second, and just did get there as Lemon almost had a force play. Now it'll be an interesting thing to see about Bobby Brown. Brown is a switch hitter. He has sacrificed twice this year, but both times Bobby was sacrificing as a right-handed batter. Let's see what they do when he's hitting left-handed, and we also might have a runner. Let's see.
There's been some action on the bench, Vin. Ozzie Virgil really is the one who called time. He ran on the field. That's who it is.
He'll run for Nettles. Luis can play third base and center field. He's got a great arm. Kennedy and Salazar taking their lead. A pickoff play, no good to Whitaker. What happens there is the shortstop breaks to cover the first time, and when the shortstop goes towards third, it's a sucker play. They go to the second baseman.
Salazar is back. You practiced that play in spring training. I've never been a big advocate of fancy plays in game situations. I still like 3 outs. make the play. You get those fancy plays, you end up with a big L in the scoring column.
I like that kind of a play, especially against a pinch runner who's coming into the game cold. And he's looking at ball one.
I like that kind of play on the playground. I don't like it in the first game of the World Series.
All right.
I guess I'm a purist or a basics guy, because if one thing goes wrong, you got a fire drill on your hands, and pretty soon you've got a big rally going, and the other club hasn't done that much to make the rally. You have.
What's going on is, on a bunt, Whitaker figures to break to cover first, and Trammell figures to break to cover third, and that lulls the runner into thinking, well, I'll just follow the shortstop. But after they set him up, Whitaker would then fake going to first and circle back, and all of a sudden they've hung you out to dry, and Sparky has used that play for years. Sparky coached here in San Diego in 1969, and now they're on their feet here in Jack Murphy Stadium. So they took the bunt off, if it was ever on. 1-1. Missed it. 1-2. It's an interesting thought. You ever think that a fellow's a better bunter right-handed than left-handed? You wouldn't think so.
Wouldn't think so.
No.
He just missed that ball. He had a good ball to bunt. They teach bunting, it's catching the baseball with the bat.
Well, with 2 strikes, the Tigers feel he will not be bunting. And he fouled it away. 2-2. I'll tell you one thing, the Padres sorely miss Kevin McReynolds. I don't care how good a series Bobby Brown has. McReynolds, 25 years old, is a franchise player, and he broke a bone in his wrist against Chicago. But of course, Williams points out he won back in '72 without Reggie Jackson.
But it wasn't easy.
Never is. 2-2. Got him. Perfect fastball about at the knees on the outside part. Brown never did get a good swing. 2-2 to Martinez. Got him. So Jack Morris, one of the great pitchers in the American League, shows you why. With first and second and nobody out, he punches out Brown and Martinez.
He let up on this curveball, and look at the concentration. It's a split-fingered fastball. You can see the grip. Great. Look at the tumble effect.
And so it's Gary Templeton, who wears number 1 on his back, and he's on the spot right now.
First ball hitter.
He hit the first pitch last time up and hits one now. Foul.
They're playing the way they got here, and that's the way it should be.
And right away, after striking out Brown and Martinez, he has it 0-2 to Gary Templeton. And I would think the biggest pitching that he has made tonight was when he thwarted Brown's effort to sacrifice.
Morris has called his catcher out a couple times, and I particularly like to see that, because the pitcher has the ball, he has to throw it, and he's telling Lance Parrish, here's what I want to do. It's not here's what I have a hunch to do, here's what I'd like to do, here's what I want to do, this is what I'm going to do.
So Jack Morris striking out Brown and Martinez is 1 pitch away from striking out the side. 0-1. Salazar at second, the pinch runner. Kennedy at first. 2 out. 3-2 Detroit, bottom of the 6th. And he strikes him out away and strikes out the side on a half swing. The location really fooled Templeton. Is now at third base. And it'll be the top of the order. Whitaker, Trammell, and Gibson. And a change. 0-1. Andy Hawkins in relief of starter Mark Thurman. 1-0. Whitaker doubled over Bobby Brown's head, flied to left and flied to center. He's 1 for 3. There's Salazar picking up for Greg Nettles at third. He has a great arm. Ball 2. In fact, if Marty Castillo and Luis Salazar and Gary Templeton start throwing balls over to first base, You really see some smoke. That's a strike. Two and one, the count to the leadoff man, Lou Whitaker. And he's gone. 2 balls and 2 strikes, and the battle goes on. Hit in the air to right field. Gwynn fading, not to the track, however, just short of it. 3/4 of the way is Whitaker drawing a throw, which is a daring but a very sound play, making Gwynn throw and the possibility of making him throw it away. But as we said, everything Gwynn does is a tribute to Bobby Tolan.
You can see Whitaker watching now. He hustles back and he makes him throw, but he gets back in plenty of time.
And it was a pretty high throw. You see it sailing. Garvey had to go up a little bit to get it. And with 1 out and Whitaker at first, here is Kirk Gibson. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Kirk Gibson. Whitaker at first, 1 out, 7th inning, 3-2 Detroit. Oh, just got back and Garvey thought he had him.
Give him a little push. He may have just helped him off a little bit. Nothing wrong with that.
Little toe dance a la Lou Whitaker.
He went in with the left foot. Now Garvey gives him a little push with those Popeye arms, and he was changing feet.
Yeah.
What a time to go for a dance lesson.
And Larry Barnett of the American League right there to call him safe. 2-2. On the hands and popped up. Garvey says he'll take it. And he does.
You can see that Whitaker was losing his balance here. He goes in with the left foot. Now he's going to change, and
wow.
If he tagged him, you can't see the glove is behind him.
Looks like a break dance.
I'm telling you something. Of course, we got a replay. I'd have called him out.
Yeah. Well, we'll see just how big that play is now. Lance Parrish had an infield single in the 1st inning, walked in the 3rd, doubled with 2 out in the 5th inning, and then rode home on Herndon's home run. So Whitaker calls safe, doing a buck and wing over there, and Parrish is given the at bat. 3-2 Detroit, top of the 7th. High fly ball, back a 3rd down the line, a trio of Padres, and it's Martinez. Carmelo makes the play.
We love the new apartment.
The natural light is amazing.
Numbers for Jack Morris. He has not had to labor too hard. However, in the last inning, remember, he had given up 2 hits to the first 2 batters and then proceeded to strike out the side. And we'll see whether that took a little something extra out of him or not. Kurt Bavacqua will start it off, bottom of the 7th inning. That's a strike. Bavacqua flied to left, flied to center. He was given the nod as the DH over Champ Summers, even though Champ is a left-handed batter. Change. Straight change, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Morris likes to start what he finish what he starts, but down in the bullpen, they've got the franchise down there.
There you see Shearer and Lopez. And if they really need the left-handed ace, of course, that's Willie Hernandez.
Well, that's what I'm referring to, not those 2.
1-1. Fouled away, down the line, out of play.
Ever a guy had an MVP year would be Hernandez.
I was interested in a quote in the papers attributed to Davey Johnson of the Mets, and he wasn't putting a knock on Willie, but he said, "I'm really shocked because I thought he was just an average pitcher in the National League." Well, maybe he was. But he has been absolutely incredible in Detroit. 1-2 to Bavacqua. 2-2. Detroit's pitching was magnificent in the Royals series. I mean, they just shut him down. And there's part of the staff. And Willie, of course, front and center.
I can't imagine Sparky going to the 2-hole warming up.
2-2. Fastball is hit inside first and down the line. Bavacqua is on his way for 2. Gibson chasing. They're waving Bavacqua to 3rd. The relay to Whitaker. Whitaker to Castillo. They got him.
He stumbled. He stumbled as he rounded second base. It may be that he hasn't been playing, but he stumbled as he rounded second base. And what a play that was.
9-4-5. From Gibson to Whitaker to Castillo.
Right there. That's where he lost it. And that's where he lost the play. Virgil says get down, but basic baseball, hitting the relay man, made the play.
And I will say Virgil was waving him to third. As you see Gibson almost fall down in the bullpen. Here's the play, that throw by Whitaker.
Hitting the cutoff man. And that made it. Basic baseball.
So the Padres get burned on the gamble. 1-1 to count to Wiggins. And he's going to drag. And Morris tags him out. Remember, we were talking about Sparky's regard, how quick Jack Morris is. Quicker than Gullett, he said, and we couldn't believe him. Now you get an idea.
He gets off the mound in good shape, and he knows exactly what he has to do and makes the tag.
Gwynn hitting in the number 2 slot is followed by Steve Garvey. And he's walking. That's only the 3rd walk, and it's the first walk since the 3rd inning. So again, it's Garvey and the chicken. Garvey singled to right and scored in the 1st inning. With the runners going, he grounded into a tag double play in the 3rd. And in the 5th inning, with a runner at 2nd, he was really jammed, tied up, did not have a good swing, and rolled out to Whitaker. Morris kind of ate him up inside with a good fastball. We'll watch Gwynn at first. He's the tying run with 2 out. Remember, he stole 33 during the regular season.
Certainly would expect Garvey to get at least 2 hacks. I mean, Dick Williams, you can't take anything for granted, that's for sure. But the one thing you don't want to do is run yourself out of the inning with a guy like Garvey up there who's had the hot hand.
We'll watch Gwynn held on by Evans. And you can bet Morris is watching him. Gwynn stole 2nd in the 5th inning when Lance Parrish dropped a pitch. Change, what a delivery, and Garvey so far out in front of it.
That was nasty. Nasty. That's the kind that when they throw it, you can feel the pressure on your shoestrings as your body starts to leave the shoes.
Look at this.
It's the split finger, and he's way out in front. They'll try to make him with 2 strikes now. It's the breaking pitch outside part, maybe even bounce it. Fastball hard inside. But with 2 strikes, they got the chance to break the curveball, but you got the guy on first.
0-2. Gwynn goes on a pitch out, and Parrish to Whitaker. They hang him out to dry.
How do you like that? Roger Craig, you got to give him a lot of credit. 2 strikes. He calls the pitch outs. He called that one. I tell you, amazing.
A very expensive inning for the Padres, who have a man thrown out at 2nd and a man burned at 3rd. And at the end of 7, 3-2 Detroit.
On MLB Network.
Well, we go to the 8th inning. It's still 3-2 Detroit, and Larry Herndon, who put the Tigers out in front, takes a breaking ball strike. Herndon had an infield single in the 1st inning, hit into a force play in the 3rd, and then hit the home run with Parrish aboard in the 5th inning. Oh, a little smoke on that.
Oh, heat.
The modern ball player talks about a pitcher bringing it. That one was just brought.
Old Diz would say he brung that one.
Old Diz. You know, it's funny you should mention his name, Dizzy Dean. Tonight is an anniversary in baseball history about Diz and Detroit. It was on this day 50 years ago that Dizzy Dean shut out Detroit 11-0, and the Cardinals won the World Series.
34 World Series, gas house game.
That's something. 2-2. See how Hawkins hesitates before he brings that right arm around? It's as if he gathers and regroups while in the middle of his delivery. Fouled away. 3-2. And he lost him. So Herndon walks to open up matters in the 8th inning, and it'll bring up Garvey. Little nubber off the bare hands down to Templeton, who throws and gets him. Gary with that fine arm. And down to second goes Herndon. So Barbet got his man over anyway, and since it touched Hawkins' fingertips, he'll get an assist. It's 1-6-3.
Templeton made it in by a couple of steps. It looked like it was going to be a tough play, maybe even a base hit, but Templeton was there and deflected by Hawkins. He did get a piece of it. There you see it. Being nonchalant, but with that arm, he just guns him.
What an arm. So Herndon at second with one out, and Chet Lemon trying to pick him up. Lemon is 1 for 3. Strike. Lemon grounded to third. Then he hit the fly ball in the 4th inning that fooled Martinez. It went for a 2-base error. And his last time up in the 6th inning, he singled, but he was doubled up on the looper by Evans that was one-handed by Garvey. We're in the 8th inning. Detroit 3, Padres 2. Game 1. It's a dandy. One and one. Good save by Kennedy.
Boy, you can see why the San Diego coaching staff and the manager like this kid Hawkins. He's got a good live arm.
1-1. High fly ball to straightaway center to Bobby Brown. Going back to the bag is Herndon, and he'll hold, and Brown gets the ball back into Templeton. Darrell Evans was robbed of a hit by Alan Wiggins in the 2nd inning, rolled out to Wiggins in the 4th, and then hit the ball at the end of the bat, and Garvey was able to leap in the air and backhand it and turn it into a double play, and they're going to take the bat right out of his hands. So Evans, with any luck at all, would be 2 for 3 tonight. Instead, he is 0 for 3 with this walk.
A lot of people say they should eliminate this and speed up baseball. I completely disagree. I've seen some fairly weird things as Johnny Grubb has come out as the pinch hitter. When they're intentionally walking someone, I've seen fellas hit it. And remember, Dick Williams pulled it on Sparky Anderson on the 3-2 count to Johnny Bench when he was batting. And he walked out there as if to say, put him on. And Tennis got out there, put his hand out there at the last minute, fingers through a strike, and Bench was out, and he was surprised. Sparky was surprised.
But Cincinnati won the game 1-0.
True.
Well, here's Johnny Grubb. You talk about somebody coming home. You know, John was an all-star for the Padres in 1974. In fact, prior to Tony Gwynn's big year, he had the best hitting average for a left-hand batter in Padre history. And since he's coming up, Dravecky will be coming in. Grubb hit .311 for the Padres, and he's not going to play. So we got time. We'll be back right after this. And running at first is Dave Bergman for Darrell Evans. Meanwhile, Tom Brookins will bat for Johnny Grubb. Bergman is a marvelous defensive first baseman. So in a one-run game, I think Sparky would have made the move anyway. And now he gets a maximum out of the move by putting him in as a runner. Here is Brookins. He had a twin brother who played for Detroit in 77 and 78. He even had a cousin who pitched for Detroit. So he's a Tiger all the way. 0-1. Brookins, a first-round draft choice for Detroit in 75, finds Herndon at second, and Bergman at first. 2 out. 3-2 Detroit in the 8th. Fouled away. 1-1. What's your book on Dravecky?
Draveki's got as good an arm as you'll want to look at. He'll come at you. He's got a big, hard fastball, hard slider. And he's another one of those 3 guys that have just kept the San Diego club going, the middle relief men.
And that's hit looping to right center, but Gwynn is there. So with the wheeling and the dealing, Williams brings in Dravecky to get Brookins a hit for Grubb. And at the end of 7.5, 3-2 Detroit.
In a world that's keeping us apart, it's amazing.
And at first base, Tom Brookins, who batted for Johnny Grubb, who was going to bat for Castillo. Tommy takes over at third. And with a little music from Zorba the Greek, this crowd is on its feet, and it'll be a noisy bottom half with Garvey, Salazar, and Kennedy. Garvey singled in the first, scored a run, grounded into a double play in the third, and grounded out in the 5th. And Jack Morris, who has been bobbing and weaving the last 3 innings and doing a remarkable job, set sails into the 8th inning, leading 3-2. I don't know how you hit that pitch.
You don't, and most of the times it's not in the strike zone. The key, as you hear Roger Craig talk about it, is the speed of the arm. It's a fastball mentality that you have when you throw it.
0-1. Fouled away, so immediately Garvey in a hole, 0-2.
With 2 strikes, they bounce that ball or stay with the fastball inside, but in a spot like this, you throw that 55-foot curveball, and as all curveballs, you want to get it down, and if you miss, you want to be at the outside part of the plate. Let's see how they go.
0-2. Morris has struck out 5, walked 3. He just went to old Reliable and blew him away. And here is Salazar, who came into the game as a runner in the 6th inning for Greg Nettles. If you weren't with us in the 6th inning, Nettles and Kennedy opened up with singles. Brown couldn't bunt, and Morris proceeded to strike out the side. In the 7th inning, Bavacqua was thrown out when he stumbled rounding second, tried to make it for 3, and came up empty. Ground ball to third. Tommy Brookins gets his feet wet defensively. So 2 down in the 8th inning. Here's Kennedy. Doubled and took third on the throw in the 1st inning, and they left him. But he knocked in 2. Flied to center in the 3rd with runners at 1st and 3rd, and singled in the 6th inning. Strike. So Terry is 2 for 3. 2 RBIs. Last year, the top hitting catcher in the National League, winning the Silver Slugger Award. Foul back, 0-2.
He hasn't thrown anything but strikes this inning, and it shows you that it's like some managers say, I don't need starters, I need finishers. I'm not looking for throwers, I'm looking for pitchers, and that's what you're seeing right here. He smells the victory, and he's coming down hard. Morris walked 2 in the 3rd inning, did not walk another man until Gwynn in the 7th, and Gwynn was thrown out stealing, remember, on the pitch out. 0-2. Check swing foul. Well, now, give me a Cabbage Patch doll and game 1 of the World Series, and I'm in heaven. There are a lot of little ones up late tonight in San Diego and probably in Detroit. Oh, and 2 the count to Terry Kennedy. Wouldn't bite. 1-2. Well, Sparky Anderson said it early this year. I don't have to talk anymore, he said. This team will talk for me. And boy, has it ever. Yeah, but that's not like Sparky. Sparky, as recently as yesterday, said, man, I could step on 50 nails and never get lockjaw. Oh, Sparker.
1-2 to Terry Kennedy. 3-2 Tigers, bottom of the 8th. 2 out. Ground foul. What was it one of the writers wrote about Sparky's speech?
Milt Richmond, he said he's got a speech impediment. Every once in a while he comes up for a breath.
Steve Garvey isn't saying very much right now, having struck out opening up the 8th inning. 1-2 to Terry Kennedy. Tigers scored 1 in the first. The Padres got 2. Herndon hit a 2-run home run in the 5th, and no one's made a sound since. And there goes Terry, and that's 8 strikeouts for Jack Morris. His high for the year, 10 against California. He is something. At the end of 8, 3-2 Detroit. He's behind Kirk. And in the 7th inning, after having struck out the side in the 6th, that's when Bavacqua hooked the ball down and was thrown out going to third. That's the biggest single play now as we get down to the 9th inning. And Lou Whitaker, 0-1. Whitaker has doubled, flied to left, flied to center, and walked. Made a very good tag play with the runners going on the ground ball by Garvey and turned it into a double play in the 3rd inning. And he made a magnificent throw, getting Bavacqua trying to stretch after receiving the throw from Gibson. I would assume, I'm only guessing, that Whitaker's going to be the cutoff man in almost every instance out there.
Sure.
Especially if Alan Trammell's arm is bothering him at all, because Whitaker has a fine arm.
You really don't go textbook with shortstop left field and second baseman right field.
Fouled away in the count 2-2.
You go to the gun. Who's got the best arm?
We're in the 9th. 3 runs, 8 hits for Detroit. 2 runs, 8 hits for the Padres. And Detroit, the Tigers hit more home runs on the road than they did at Tiger Stadium. And sure enough, it's the difference tonight on the road. They led the majors in home runs, and Dick Williams and Norm Sherry saw Herndon hit the big one tonight. Whitaker, down he goes. When the Padres come up in the bottom of the 9th, they are due to send up Bobby Brown, Carmelo Martinez, and Gary Templeton. Available on the bench, left-hand batters Tim Flannery, Champ Summers, and the switch-hitting Ron Renicky, who is filling in for the injured Kevin McReynolds. 0-1. I think if there's one big difference, the thing that will really hurt the Padres is the loss of McReynolds. 2-0 the count. Trammell single to left in the 1st inning, in the 3rd inning, and then twice went the other way and flied to right.
They certainly will lose some power with him. Forget his stats. That home run he hit against the Cubs, he said he broke his bat and he hit it in the seats.
Can you imagine? Well, he hit 20, and Jack McKeon calls him the franchise.
Doug Harvey, who's behind the plate, says he's got the most powerful, easiest swing since Ernie Banks.
Yep. That's a little looper hit right at Wiggins. 2 down.
Tell you, you gotta like Dravecky too. He's one of those determined young guys, and he just comes in there. In fact, Harry Dunlap was telling me, they told him in the bullpen, you must have been a cheerleader when you were in school, because he's cheering and he's talking to everybody, talks to himself.
Well, he's going to try and make Kirk Gibson talk to himself. Kirk has flied to left and struck out, walked in the 5th inning and was picked off, and popped up in the 7th. So the big guy's 0 for 3. Dravecky dropping his arm, little side arm to Gibson. 1-0. Sparky said he had a lot of trouble coming here to San Diego, even with the big red machine. So he knows they're tough here. Ground ball to the left side. Templeton low to Garvey in time. So Dravecky sets him down, and all of San Diego now wait. Brookins in on the grass at 3rd, and Brown very late, 0-1. It was Brown's inability to bunt in the 6th inning. That was a big play. And it was Bavacqua cut down at 3rd, and it was the tag by Morris on Wiggins' bunt. Change. Foul back and out of play. 0-2.
can almost feel a tempo that Morris has picked up as he's come on here in the late innings. He just wants that ball and come at you.
And if he staggers at all in the 9th inning, they get the big guy ready in the bullpen. Here's Willie Hernandez. 0-2 to Bobby Brown. 4-1. Morris has had his share of troubles. The Padres have put him through the ringer, but he has been equal to the occasion. Half swing, and Brown is burned out. 9 strikeouts for Jack Morris.
And Doug Harvey behind the plate didn't hesitate. That right hand went right up. Looked like they were going to appeal it, but it looked like it just bottom fell right out of it.
So with 1 out, Carmelo Martinez, the batter, grounded to short and struck out twice. 3-2 Detroit, bottom of the 9th inning. Morris has struck out 6 of the last 10 batters he has faced. Ground ball wide to third. Brookins has it over to Bergman. 2 down in the 9th. Well, here's the first ball hitter, Gary Templeton, with 2 out in the 9th inning. Morris has retired the last 5 in a row. 4-1. Brookins stays in on the grass. On deck, Kurt Bavacqua. Now back 1-1.
He's got a lot of room in right center field, but the scouting report says that left-handed, he's going to hit that ball to the opposite field. There you see that gap in right center. It's up to Morris to, if he's going to stack him that way, to make him hit that way.
And Herndon is as deep in left field as he would play a right-hand hitter. 1-1. Now back 1-2.
And what do you think he's going to get here? I'd look for the thing.
Yeah.
The thing, the split-fingered fastball. It's been dropping right. The bottom has been falling out.
And Williams knows time is running out. He's down to his last strike in game 1. Morris has made 131 pitches up to here. 2-2. Jack double checking the count. It's 2-2. 2 out, 9th inning, bases empty. Tigers 3, Padres 2. Little ground ball to first. This ought to do it. Bergman to the bag, and the lights go out on game 1 in San Diego. Jack Morris goes all the way, retires the last 6 in a row. He was threatened. The Padres had him on the ropes, and he had the ability to get off the ropes, and they couldn't put him away. The key plays again. They left Gwynn at second. They had first and second and nobody out in the 6th. They couldn't do it, and Bavacqua out at third. There was room for a lot of heroes, but the number 1 man was Jack Morris. The key home run by Larry Herndon with a man aboard. And Morris, who won the first game in the playoffs, leads the Tigers to their first victory in game 1 in the World Series. He was magnificent.
He was magnificent. He had it. He smelled it coming down the stretch.